All that you need is a ferrocerium rod and a chainsaw, and you, my friends, are in the fire making business. What's up guys, Dan here, Coalcracker Bushcraft. So you don't have to start carrying a big chainsaw into the field with you. It's actually not the chainsaw itself, it's something that can go along with the chainsaw that we can team up with our ferrocerium rod to really light this thing up. Now before we actually get to this hot little tip that you can do, you have to know a little bit about a ferrocerium rod, which most of you already do, but if you don't, a ferro rod works with pressure and removing material. So as you scrape this ferrocerium rod and you remove material, that material becomes combustible with the air and it begins to burn. Now the key here is that the more material you remove, the longer that material is going to burn on whatever you're trying to start your fire with, and the more material is there, the bigger, the hotter the flame is going to be. So one of the things that happen often is people will buy one of these and they get this with it, which is just a small little striker that sometimes comes with the rods, and they can get these little sparks that look just like this, and you see that the sparks are coming off and they're like burned out by the time they get here. That is not the most ideal scenario. Now, of course, you can light cotton balls and Vaseline with that. You can start some small little store-bought fire starters with that. But when you get out into more of the wilderness type setting and you're using natural materials, those small sparks don't always work the best. And if it's very foul weather and this is your emergency fire starter, you're going to really struggle a lot with that. So what we generally teach people is you don't have to scrap this, but maybe put this away and go with something like your multi-tool saw. The back edge of this has a 90-degree spine, so when you strike with this, whoa, you're going to notice you have a lot bigger, hotter sparks. I don't even say hotter, like longer burning and more intense type sparks with this. And this is great because you get a good grip on it and you can generally put a lot more pressure into it. And then we progress from there to something like the back side of our knife blade, which works really good because you get this really good grip on here. You can dig in, and generally most outdoor goers are going to have the knife on their hip anyway, so you don't even have to worry about having that other gear. You just pull out your knife and scrape. Now the downfall with the knife, of course, though, is we're dealing with this real sharp edge. So that can be a safety hazard for some people, and any of these methods, if you don't have really strong hands, you can really struggle to get good sparks off of the rod itself. So in some cases, younger individuals like my son, he can do it with his knife, but he still struggles if it's really cold and he's losing a little bit of dexterity, or if it's getting dark, I'm like, I don't know about having blades out so we're not cutting ourselves and having all kind of issues with mom at home. So what we did is we came up with something different, a very easy way and an effective way to get this thing to throw just monster globs of material when used. And that's where that chainsaw comes into play. So you're not going to use the chainsaw itself. I know you're thinking that Dan's going to run a chainsaw across the ferro rod, but I'm not. But what I am going to use is something that is related to the chainsaw, and that is a chainsaw file. At least that's what I've always used, was a chainsaw file, because they're small and they're compact and they fit in your bag. And this file itself, you could see, is like almost the same size as the ferro rod, so it's packable. Like it's just, it goes along with my ferro rod perfectly for this. Now we're going to actually show you how to use this thing. All right, so for this, and it might seem familiar, this technique, because we've done it in other videos to repair a rod. If your ferro rod gets speed bumps on it, all right, the grooves in it from striking inconsistently, this method will work also, but this is great for actually starting the fire. What you're going to do is you're going to take your file, you're going to push your file forward, you're going to rotate your ferro rod back. Now, you don't want to put a lot of pressure into this at first. So what you might be thinking is, well, Dan, you're striking this thing and it's not doing anything. How is this better than my knife or anything else? Okay, well, just hold on and watch. So as I go along here, I'm trying to take my time and I'm creating a lot of dust off of this ferro rod. Okay, so I'm creating dust. Foul weather, take 30 seconds and do this for a while, because what happens after a bit, once you get all this dust built up, then you can give it a good one and look at how much flame. That is way better, okay? You saw there's actual flame coming off of that. There's so much dust on there. That's way better than almost any strike you're gonna get from a knife or a ferrocerium rod. So let's give it one more time just because it's also fun and it's cool to watch. So we're gonna get lots of good shavings off of this thing. Lots of good shaving, lots of good shavings. Look at that. Whew. Little fireworks right here in our work area. So is that awesome or is that awesome? I mean, this might be the future of ferrocerium rod use here. We might just evolve to the next level in survival and bushcraft here on the Coalcracker channel. So definitely give this one a shot. You don't have to use a small little file. They're just nice because they're packable. You can get a nice big file and use it that way. You can get a bigger file and break it down into small sections. A ton of different stuff you can do, but filing your ferro rod is a great way to get good intense sparks over materials. And again, there's a ton of different ways to do this, but this is another tool for the toolbox and definitely a tool that you should use often. So if you like this video, hit like and subscribe down below. You can also check us out at coalcrackerbushcraft.com. You can also check us out over Coalcracker Bushcraft on Instagram, and then hit like and subscribe. And until the next video, stay in the woods.